everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
and me, Banshee. And it's Oberon's Goth Tarot. Guest starring me.
Right, just in time for the beginning of June, Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, of course. Even Goths have Pride.
There you go. So I'm wearing my hat this hat in honor of Pride.
And if you don't know, Goth Tarot is our exploration of our shadow issues, our shadow sides, the shadows that we need to try to integrate for better functionality and emotional harmony in our life.
That's right. And for this reading, this monthly shadow working, we're using the Cries of the Soul Oracle by Isabel Surf, illustrated by Daphna Sabani. I needed to read that name, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So that's what we'll be using to really set the tone and the theme for what we need to consider working on in the month ahead.
The Cries of the Oracle, or the Cries of the Soul's Oracle, is really a definitive kind of work. It gives you a lot of staging to work with as you work through the process. So we've been using this now for quite some time. So we start with that shuffle. And this gives us the idea of what we would like to focus on. It will be the main work of today's show, but it will be touched on a little bit in the weekly subsequent shows in June. Banshee will not be with me, but I'll try to get along as best as I can.
Oh, you do fine, Mr. O. You do fine.
I'll also do some other adjacent shadow issues, as well as have a couple of meditations in there during the month. So check those out. They'll all be collected in the Shadow playlist as well as the Goth Tarot playlist at our YouTube channel.
All right, Mr. O, shuffle away. You'll do fine, Mr. O. You know, I'm always available for consultation.
And
but it'll cost you.
And indeed, I have consulted.
Anyway.
Which is probably why I have to wait until I have some more money to consult you.
More things to bribe the Banshee with. That's right.
Well, there is that. So here we go. This is what we're going to be working on this month.
All right. Let's see what's out there. Evading happiness.
All right. Evading happiness.
And it says, I create my own peace of mind. What number is that? I got to look at. Oh, number 19.
Okay.
Okay. I'm close. There it is. Evading happiness. Okay, so our first thing is reading this and introducing it. It's the wisdom of your shadow, and it's as if it's speaking directly to those this relates to. I am the energy of sorrow, representing pain and distress. When I am with you, contentment looks like an impossible quest, and to attain it, I make you believe you need to be perfect in heart and soul. My energy is hurtful and creates pessimism, impatience, and fatalism. I may have been with you for a very long time, since you were a child, or as a result of a painful life experience or of painful life experiences. And I cause you to think that happiness lies outside of you. However, happiness is an inner construction that flows from you. Right, you know, this whole idea that we create our own happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think here, too, this is also bringing into the equation the dangers of believing in the path to perfectionism. You can only be perfect. Everything has to be just perfect in order for you to be happy. Something in your past must have triggered this, difficult emotion to deal with inside you.
I like that. I'm getting a little bit something different here, and it's probably not intended, but I'm seeing it here. We can discuss this perhaps.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sort of feeling like the idea of evading happiness, it reminded me of an old joke in the old Wiccan community about mother somebody's perpetual, martyrdom, kind of thing. And the idea that some people do kind of create an energy about themselves that say they're suffering and they're perpetually suffering and they're a martyr, and you should sort of, it's a form of codependency, they sort of get you to try to, acknowledge their victimhood as somehow a virtue in a way.
Well, it definitely creates pessimism, impatience, and fatalism. And I think here too, because you can never be perfect. See, that is the catch. And so you're giving yourself an impossible task that happiness can only be attained through being perfect. Well, then you're making it a self-fulfilling prophecy that it's never going to happen for you.
You're creating a loophole that says this is why it can't happen. And you may even be projecting that on other people, not people who are truly very successful, but other people, and just say, this is just life. This is the way life is.
All right. So what's next, Mr. O?
Well, what indeed is next? That was the Cries of the Soul Oracle Dark Shadows. We're now going to look at the Dark Whispers, what you need to know, and that too is from the Oracle, and it's the supplement section. Plus, we also use specifically the Erethereal's Shadow Work Tarot to supplement all of these positions we'll be working with, so that will come too.
Okay, so supplemental information is this from your shadow. The more you've experienced unhappiness, the more you fear the opposite, because a part of you is conditioned to fear what you don't know. And you don't know happiness, right? You may consider happiness as a dangerous and destabilizing thing. And I protect you from that by keeping you in your comfort zone so you're reassured. You prefer to keep happiness at bay rather than run the risk of losing it. But it is hope and love. It's knowing your needs and seeing them fully met at every level. Wow. I really can relate to that part about keeping happiness at bay rather than run the risk of losing it, That's how, pessimists are in a way. And that shows the pessimism that's involved in this here, is that, you feel the worst is always going to happen. So when the worst doesn't happen, you feel comfortable, you feel secure, But you have to feel the worst is going to happen all the time, so you expect it. So when it doesn't happen, you can feel better. And so the thing is here, it's similar. You might as well stay in your unhappy state, because if you become happy, you could lose it. And then, it might even feel worse to you. You're protecting yourself in a very toxic way here.
So that's true. It really feels like it's another form of codependency. It feels like it's using your victimhood to prevent you from trying to do better. And it's also, like I said before, too, a bit of projection, that you sort of can project this on other people too. That's why you can't be helped, because everybody else is going through the same thing too, whether or not that's actually true.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that they just think happiness is not for them.
All right, so you're going to shuffle some more, and then we will draw a card from there. This will also show us what we need to know, what other dark whispers about the idea of evading happiness could be.
Yes, we want to see what the tarot can add to this general, overview of the shadow. I cut them?
Yep.
You shuffled, yeah. Okay.
I did shuffle.
All right.
And the other dark whispers is the Three of Swords.
Wow, isn't this the truth? You're perpetually either in a malaise or in a very unhappy state. And, you could call it the victimhood thing. I don't know if it, I agree that that's definitely part of what's going on here for some people. I think for other people, it's just that you preferred not to venture out of this grieving and this unhappy state because you're afraid of losing even where you're at right now. You feel it will be much worse if you
The Three of
lose
Swords will talk specifically about something that has broken your heart. So the implication could be that it is about a relationship, but it may not be just any relationship. It's probably literally what is often referred to as the sacred wound. Some perhaps childhood, but very fundamental early stage pain or hurt that you've never allowed you to heal from, and that this could be the basis of the shadow.
Well, I definitely see that too. Before the supplement, we read that this was likely something that happened early in your life, some either traumatic experience or maybe something that just triggered, this within you. It had to be something strong that happened, whether it's a separation, whether you felt unloved or you were made to feel unhappy all the time by your upbringing, or perhaps being bullied in school, being brought down all the time, that you never amount to anything. Whatever the case may be here, something triggered some immense sorrow within you that you have chosen to hide behind rather than to try to find and seek out happiness in your life.
So in no uncertain terms, we are saying that those of us who may be in this syndrome of evading happiness, we have a fundamental, seminal, early developmental event that happened that is the basis of this, and it may almost be unknown to us. We might just be using our current lives to build upon that.
Or we're in denial at this stage. We've been in denial possibly for years, right?
So now we're going to look at the dark drama, how others or outside events may keep inadvertently triggering us, and for that we're going to draw the next card in the Shadow Work Tarot.
So this is just a tarot, right?
Yes, it's just the tarot.
Oh, it's the Tower.
Holy shoot.
So what is that again? What triggered it?
Yes, it's the dark drama, others or outside events.
Okay, that got in there? Okay.
Yeah,
you might want to move
them
it
just
down.
a little bit that way.
You. Wow.
Pretty.
Well, that's your telling, isn't it? You learned this behavior from some catastrophic event that happened in your life. Possibly maybe this isn't even something that was triggered by others' behavior towards you per se. For example, maybe your house burned down and it was a really traumatic incident. Your family lost everything. Maybe, with loss of jobs, you had to live outside your car for a lot of your childhood. You had a very disruptive, existence. Some crash happened, right? Some crisis event happened that caused this reaction within you. You learned this behavior. You felt you could never be happy again.
Well, and in the learning of this behavior, you realized you could never let yourself go there again. So you kind of have prevented that in a way, and so that's why you're not getting over that, as you sort of continue to navigate yourself away from anything that might build it better.
I mean, it could definitely be other things that I mentioned that trigger this, but for some reason, I'm feeling strongly about some events. Like, maybe people who have survived a really nasty hurricane or flooding episode or something that was really scary and traumatic and sudden.
Because we call it the dark drama, it is indeed the possibility of outside events, but maybe it's just the kind of people that you've always been around who, look at you and see you as less, and you've been a joke for them all your lives, or you've been some sort of object of contempt for them too. So this could be other people as well as other events.
I'm not going to rule that out, but
well, it's what we said it would be.
But if it is, there had to be one pivotal event with them that really caused this to trigger.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
obviously, you know, because the tower is sudden, right? So unexpected crisis. Sometimes we do see it in advance, but a lot of times it's just sudden, like lightning strike, you know?
And the most important part of when the tower falls is whether or not we are able to pick up the pieces and at least recognize what we did and what we might have done differently. And so that's, you know, something to take away here.
Well, but sadly, I think because of the shadow and how it fits in, I feel like the learning, you know, that we
it is sort of a
it,
recurrent thing, right? It just sort of keeps...
We learned the wrong lesson.
Yeah.
We just learned the wrong lesson from it.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
So maybe we will see that in the dark truth. Okay. What it is that we must accept here, maybe that we don't really understand or like we suggested, we're in denial about. And so for that, we're going to look at the warning section in the Cries of the Soul, plus throw another card.
Okay. So the warning is, happiness is something personal that you build. It's moments you experience within yourself and doesn't depend on external conditions or other people, just on you. You amplify or share it with others. Nobody is happy all the time, and there's an infinity of shades between happiness and misery, which is that Three of Swords, really, right? Focus on yourself and don't shy away from good things. You don't have to experience or do extraordinary things to be joyful. You only need to feel good about yourself.
Very nice.
And, you know, when we go through traumatic experiences, it really is a soul-shattering experience. Whether it is the way it comes through other people, you know, abuse or toxic relationships and things of that nature, or it comes through some crisis or trauma in your life, whether, you know, that's beyond your control, you know, like the weather, etc., earthquakes, all of that. So I think here, let's draw a tarot card too and see what it will add.
Right, so this is additionally another factor of truth we must accept.
And I will go back to that warning just to check on some things. Well, it's the Ace of Pentacles reversed.
Ace of Pentacles reversed.
Well, the dark truth, you know what's really interesting about that? I wanted to go back, here it is. I want to go back to this because it says, nobody is happy all the time and there's an infinity of shades in between. And so you have to realize here that not everything in your life is always going to be golden. And if, you know, you've reached this, and you obviously realize that because you feel as though you can never attain what you desire. And in a sense, that made the dark truth is that is what's blocking your progress from getting where you want to get to in life. The fact that you are concerned, you know, the fact that you, oh God, I lost my thought. The fact that you really feel that it's unattainable to you to begin with. You don't deserve that kind of happiness, or that happiness will be taken away from you if you should try for it.
It's about being able to start over. You know, in this context, the Ace of Pentacles says, reverse says, you feel the truth is you can't start over. You can't create materially for yourself what you think will make you happy. So there is an emphasis a little bit about saying that, you know, there are material conditions that could make you happy. But that doesn't just mean having things. It also means good health too, or a sense of having a home, a house over your head.
The Ace of Pentacles is also about personal growth and ambition and obtaining stuff, but the whole idea is to want things and and want happiness in your life and want growth in your life, and you feel like you don't deserve it, or maybe it's not deserve it, that you don't want it because you're afraid of losing it. You're afraid of losing it even before you try because you don't feel you deserve the happiness that would come from gaining it.
It all ties together.
And that's the warning here. You have to shift your thinking on this. And you have to realize you're the one that can create your own happiness.
Right.
All right.
All right, so from the dark truth, we move to the dark gift. What are your hidden abilities, powers, resources, an aspect of yourself? What is it that you do have, maybe that you're just not realizing, will be able to help you? And for that, we just pull a tarot from the Erethereal.
It's the Hanged Man.
Nice.
Okay, you go then.
All right, so the Hanged Man says that your hidden gift is the ability to focus on that and to realize what it is that's truly important, the truths that we're talking about, and what you can really accommodate in your life by maybe a sacrifice of some sort, or by a realization that you, like we said, you can't have it all, but you can have what you deserve. And maybe you have to go a little bit inward more and realize what that is, because maybe you're just looking at the surface, and maybe what you really want is something that's going to take a while to find out.
Obviously. But you know, I think you're on your way, and maybe this is a real positive sign and something that might be something that Mr. O can see, you know, in the cards later this month that come up for this follow-up. I feel here that with the Hanged Man upright, well, you know, and he's hanging there reversed. The dark,
No, it's not reversed.
well, he's hanging upside down is
Got
what
it.
I meant. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the Hanged Man here is saying your dark gift is that you're starting to recognize something is inherently wrong, and that why can't you be happy? You know, maybe you're starting to question your shadow, and that is healthy. You know, it's good to have a dialogue with your shadow and say, why am I feeling this way? Why am I always feeling unhappy? I'm doing this to myself, aren't I? Maybe it's time to look at in depth how you know, use this gift of introspection to determine what you feel in life could make you happy.
Well, we've mentioned the sense of denial from some of these cards that we could be feeling, but maybe that's the whole point of evading happiness, is that you don't want to look any deeper to find what it is you really want. You're just sort of accepting your fate rather than trying to figure out how to make it better.
And you know what? You have to surrender something here, right? That's the Hanged Man. And he is about surrender also. You have to surrender your ego to this, the part of you that wants to hold you in this unhappy place. That's what you have to do. And it is going to take time. It's going to take time and some deep introspection.
And remember, I touched on the idea that, you know, by claiming victimhood as a virtue and perhaps other reasons, being a victim, you know, gives you an inverse power that you need to challenge and see if you can, you know, give that up.
Wow.
All right, so we will now go to the dark destiny, the dark light marriage. How will we finally, hopefully, integrate our shadow and light? So we use from that the Cries of the Soul Oracle moving forward section.
All right. To create a different relationship with me that leads to happiness, you need to understand your needs. Regularly ask yourself what they are now. Then think about the action steps you can take to satisfy them. You may need to undergo therapy to create a new relationship with your wounds and make some important decisions and implement many changes. But you can build happiness through activities like taking a nap, sharing a moment with someone you love, feeling a lovely ray of sunshine, listening to a child laughing or dancing in the rain. How about even getting a pet? And, you know, sharing, you know, your life with a pet, which, you know, can really boost your spirits as well. And so the point is, it's sort of like it ties right into the Hanged Man in a way, and saying, think now. Think about the ways you can be happy, even small things. And that's just the point. Happiness is not just big, massive great things that happen in our lives, like winning the lottery or something. Happiness is those small moments, the moments that make you smile each day, or make you laugh, or make you look at wonder and awe in the world. Those kind of things can make you happy.
So the hangman comes back into focus here, because in my way, it's like thinking about what we view as our expectations of what we think a happy life is or a joyful life is.
Yeah.
And maybe we have to question that. Maybe if we've been looking at too much TV or too much movies or dramas that say happiness is this or should be like this, well, that's nice for that, but maybe happiness is different for everybody.
Well, you just brought up something that made me think of something here too. For some of you out there, are you trying to live a life to make somebody else happy instead of yourself? And is that why you can't experience happiness? Something must have triggered that, you know, whether it's a parent who wants you to assume their role in life and be just like them, and you're not being able to be yourself. You know, one thing for sure is we have to not be afraid to be ourselves.
You know what?
And love ourselves. And I think that was part of this too, somewhere along the way.
You know what? There's one final tarot card.
There
Maybe
is.
it's going to tell us. And it's...
No.
No, maybe not. It's the Two of Pentacles reversed.
So, again, you have to shift the emphasis here. You have to shift your life from this, whether you want to call it a victim state or whether you want to call it unhappy state, to something more balanced, You know, recognize that in life, you are going to have unhappy moments, and you got to deal with them. You have to deal with them. You're also going to make happy moments for yourself, and you should enjoy them. And so balance it out here. It's essential. With this card reversed, it's saying this is the problem. You're weighing it too heavy on being unhappy all the time. You don't realize there's a lot of positive things you could be introducing in your life or focusing on in your life right now.
So in the original ideas about evading happiness, some of this was about sort of keeping a status quo that didn't allow you to find that happiness, but didn't allow you to devolve necessarily. This is sort of saying action is required too, that you can't just sit there waiting for something to happen. You do have to take a move. You have to take a chance on it. Otherwise, you're just sitting there not doing anything.
The bluebird of happiness can be in your backyard.
There you go.
Anyway, wow, that was a deep reading today.
It was pretty deep, and I wonder if, you know, this will be picked up on in my subsequent weeks.
I wonder. It should be.
We'll have to see. So stay tuned for the next Goth Tarot next Wednesday.
Where I will not be there, but I will be here at the start of July once more to get you on track for another monthly shadow work.
Take care, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.